Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the first two episodes of the new psychological thriller from the Apple TV Plus platform, Cape Fear. And this is the third adaptation of the novel The Executioners by John D. MacDonald, and it spawned off a film in 1962 as well in 1991 by the title of Cape Fear. Now, the 1962 adaptation, I think that starred Robert Meacham in that film, and Gregory Peck. I could be wrong, but I think those two were in that film. But I do know the 1991 version very, very well. That starred Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, Jessica Lange, and it was directed by Martin Scorsese, and it was produced by Steven Spielberg. And they teamed up yet again to give us this TV version, the miniseries, if you will, of Cape Fear on Apple TV Plus. This go around, it stars Javier Bardem, Amy Adams, and Patrick Wilson. And this was something that I had no idea they were making. I didn't even know this was a thing until maybe a week ago, a week before it came out. And I just saw a poster or something of it. I'm like, oh, that's AI. I didn't believe it. I did not believe that the filmmakers involved behind the scenes and the actors in front of the camera were involved in this project. You couldn't have convinced me that this was a thing. And my God, I was wrong. And my God, am I happy that I was wrong. You tell me Javier Bardem is playing Max Cady, and I'm all in on this. This is the same man who gave us the character, the name is on the tip of my tongue, from No Country for Old Men, which he won an Academy Award for, one of the best villains in cinematic history. And he's played villains that were awesome throughout his career. And at one point, he said he's stepping away from playing villains because he was being typecast as a villain. And I get it. You know, you don't want to be known as the bad guy all the time. But he does it so well. He plays villain so well. It is not, the mustache twirling or, the tunnel vision. I'm only going to rule the world. Or I'm going to kill this person. No, it was more of a cerebral thing with him as he approaches a certain role. And that's in any role, whether he's the bad guy, good guy, whatever. He's just one of those actors. The dude is phenomenal. But he gives your character depth. And you want a villain that has depth. You don't want a one-note villain. You want somebody that can put the fear of God in you physically or mentally, especially mentally, And, man, what he brought to this role, just in the first two episodes, is frightening. Now, I hate to do this. I really do. I don't like doing this. But when you think about, in comparisons to Robert De Niro's portrayal of this character in the 1991 film, he was a psychopath. He was really off the hinges, that character. And it wasn't one note by no stretch. It was amazing performance. Don't get me wrong. But we didn't really dive into the psyche of Max Cady in that film, And granted, it was a film. You have more room to play with here in a television series with over 10 episodes. You got time to let things develop. So, to be fair, it's Javier Bardem has more room to play with as per Robert De Niro did. But that character was so psychopathic in that movie. He brought a different element of fear to the role. Whereas you have here, it's cerebral because you don't know what angle Javier is coming from. playing Max. You really don't know. And then when you explore the other side of the spectrum with Amy Adams' character and Patrick Wilson's character, you don't know to trust them. And these are supposed to be the heroes here. Now, if you don't know the whole story, if you've never seen the 1991 film or the 1962 film, I'm not going to go into spoilers with you because honestly, I don't know what direction the TV show is going to take necessarily. We could flip things on the head and go in a completely different direction. I've already noticed a few subtle changes in the show as per the movies. Now, I didn't read the novel, The Executioners. Maybe it's more faithful to that novel, but I don't know. But it could be a completely different thing. But in just to play safe, I'm not even going to get into the story and what happens and who's this and who's that, what's going on. But really sitting here watching these first two episodes of Cape Fear on Apple TV Plus, it was like watching it for the first time. Like I just discovered this for the first time, And so that brings a level of excitement. Whether you're a cinephile who studied both of the previous films and know them backwards and forwards, or you're somebody who's a layman and didn't see those two films and you diving into this property for the first time, I think we all can enjoy it. I have all the faith in the world that this is going to be awesome. The first two episodes were great. I thought the performance, I mean, come on, man. These are Academy Award winners in this in this show. Amy Adams, Javier Bardem, Patrick Wilson. He didn't win an Academy Award, but he's an accomplished actor. And you have some supporting cast here, CCH Pounder and others that pop up in the show that are phenomenal in their job. So the acting is there. The direction is even there. Episode 2, and especially because I paid attention to episode 2. Now, it's funny how you remember certain things capture your mind and it's embedded in your head and you wonder why you still remember these things. Why are you holding on to this? Well, this is one of those cases. The director of episode 2 of Cape Fear is S.J. Clarkson. Now, if you don't know who she is, she's a director mainly in television, but she directed one film recently. Was it last year or the year before last? I don't know. It's forgettable. But it was so bad. It's been dubbed one of the worst films ever. Definitely one of the worst comic book films of all time. And that was Madam Web. And she directed that movie. And it was horrible. Every bit of it. The direction, the acting, the writing, all of it was bad. So I don't blame her solely. But nothing about that movie was good. And so we fast forward to 2026. She directs this episode, and I don't know how many more she's directing going forward in this 10-episode series. But this episode was phenomenal. The direction here was amazing. It was even better than the first episode. It escapes me who directed that first episode, but it doesn't matter. I wanted to give SJ her flowers, man. She made up for Madam Web to me. And it only took a 53-minute episode of this show to do it. And I'm good on her, man. I'm so happy. Because when the name popped up in the beginning, I immediately like, oh my God, no. But then I thought about the fact that before she made that film, and she was in she directed television, so she knows television, and that's her wheelhouse. So, with that being said, and she did an awesome job. The tension is there, the suspense is there, the psychological element is there. The story is set up fairly well. It's still some things that kind of need to be explained, but it's not fair to really go dive into that as a negative, like, oh, they didn't really touch in on this and that. It's the first 2 episodes. Give it a chance. I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm happy with this. I am super happy with this because uh Apple TV did Presumed Innocent, another adaptation of a pretty pretty famous movie that starred Harrison Ford back in the 80s, but they turned it into a miniseries. Actually, I think it's getting a season 2 if I'm not mistaken, with a different cast and whatnot. But Jake Gyllenhaal did that first season, and I enjoyed it, and it flipped it. That's why I'm kind of skeptical, not in the bad sense, but I'm kind of like, watching this show. Maybe there's going to be a change here or there, or maybe they're just going to flip it on his head at the end, because that's what Presumed Innocent did. It was different from the movie. I'm going in, I'm thinking, because I'm watching it with my wife, and she was like, "Oh, you watched the movie?" I said, "Yeah, I saw the movie back in the day. I could tell you how it ends." And then we get to the end of that show, and that's not how it ended. And I was like, "Oh, we're both surprised." And so hopefully we'll get something like that with Cape Fear. We shall see. The jury is out, but the first 2 episodes so far, I give thumbs up, man. This is some good television. I like the format. I like how it's structured. Everything is perfect, man. This is the perfect vehicle for television, for streaming, for week to week release. Didn't need to be binged. I know we're all spoiled, including me. We've gotten spoiled with the binge, dropping the whole season in one day and spending your entire weekend watching that said season. No, man, let's go old school here, and build up some tension. Let you stew on it for 7 days. Like, oh my God, what's about to happen? Oh my God, leave us with those good old fashioned cliffhangers. I'm good with that. I would like to know, what did you think of the first 2 episodes of Cape Fear? Did you like it? Do you think that it's living up so far to the film adaptations that came out in 1991 and in 1962? I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel, and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the first 2 episodes of Cape Fear, which is currently available on Apple TV Plus. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.